Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Our first topic is with regard to how school choice is developing. How when an option opens for educational growth, educational direction, the option is viable for many entities. There is no limit, it seems, when it comes to bringing school choice to definitive parameters. When the article mentions how there are a huge amount of possibilities with school choice in many instances, the article is bringing about a very important dynamic to consider with regard to how individuals want to perceive beyond any immediate benefit one may receive. So, if individuals are in disagreement with how school choice may be in one area, they'll benefit from school choice in another area, then one may wonder how one may approach both directions. As the article is mentioning, there are entities that do approach comprehending both sides, which may seem antagonistic to each other. Reality reflects that every religious area will have areas that will be more so for one to agree with and more so for one to disagree with, depending on how one may establish one's personal beliefs, as well as how one may connect with one's religion. So, with regard to how school choice may develop, the recognition of what defines a school is extremely important, so individuals may recognize what qualifies, what does not qualify. Additionally, how money flows is somewhat mysterious, if one will. Of course, operating by line item is one factor, though how one receives funding, how one receives money is a different direction to comprehend. So one may be receiving money from what one may not agree with in a very roundabout way, and may actually be using the money to fund an education, and one may not even know so. So does the question of how to track money become one that requires attention, or do individuals recognize the variability, flexibility of school choice to engage with how to define with the school choice option, more so than how to find ways to antagonize or encroach in a direction of school choice that may not be in alignment with one's own beliefs or religious beliefs, however beliefs may entangle. So the emphasis may find less presence in bringing about support for educational avenues, ensuring individuals are efficient individuals functional in society at large, than with creating contentious avenues, which I think is important to really navigate well, because at the beginning of the day, one may follow a path which one finds agreeable, and another may do so, and both may be working in the same environment. with different beliefs. So wonderful is this dynamic of America, which is constitutional. So I think with regard to how individuals may even behave, the dimensions of this conversation may really branch into many ways that do not rely on current religious belief or even belief that may be so in tune with a dynamic of religion or school choice as of now, because once school is complete, once an individual is to engage in life differently beyond academia, then one may be of different belief systems, of different living parameters. So I think the conversation is developing well, and I think practically individuals are recognizing the reality of school choice, and any finding contention may need to really address the appropriate area of which needs attention, which may have to do with how defining is happening with school choice and assessing how funding may operate, which may bring individuals to contention if all funding may have to operate through particular entities or a particular entity to ensure funding is complete well and in a space of which individuals all agree is safest for everyone, because if everyone is in the same pot, then everyone is in accordance with the same rules, is one way to think of this. So I think the conversation is developing well in many ways, and individuals need to be very mindful of how the practical elements of funding may develop and how approaching school choice beyond what one may already be benefiting from may bring more contention to situations that are not so major in the wrong areas. So, with the consideration of how defining may be with school choice, I think there is a lot of room for more defining with school choice, though I think the path is open, and with regard to ensuring the safety of all entities, I think being mindful of how individuals are approaching particular areas may bring about better comprehension of the details, especially financially, as well as ensure individuals are in alignment with regulations that are equal, equitable, and fair. So one may recognize one entity as such, though one entity may have a background or history of a particular behavior and be reflecting just as so of that which is bringing one to be antagonistic. So there are many ways to address these dynamics, and of course what I really like about the article is the bringing understanding of the different dimensions, because one world does not rule all worlds, and being in a world of many worlds there is great importance with recognizing interdependence and engaging with developing multi-stability. Our next article discusses mental health apps. When looking into the details, I'm thinking to myself about how in a medical capacity, one may recognize the core language that practitioners may operate by. For example, the Hippocratic Oath. Being in line with ethics, codes of ethics, is extremely important to practitioners, to researchers. And I think when engaging with these apps that are in these realms that may be on the border of medical and non-medical, though professionals with credentials, experience to address certain situations, I think it is important to address the behind the scenes of the apps. What is in alignment with the realm of which the app is engaging with? Are these apps going through any type of peer reviewing, any type of scrutiny, critiquing by professionals in the field, then coming to the table? Are there professionals in the field working to address what may be happening with these apps so as to engage with how the apps may be operating more efficiently, especially if with an educational environment? There are codes of ethics. There are practitioners that do not agree with other practitioners, that recognize behaviors that are inappropriate with research practitioners, that understand how communication needs to be happening within these types of realms. These are very delicate realms. So when an app is opening a gateway for mental health assistance and also bringing about this sarcastic, if one will, this sartorial element of commentary, which seems so because of being in this realm of which is to be receiving serious attention, though receiving attention that is also saying, well, I mean, this is not the area of expertise for this app. This app is not really the best option. When an app is set into that position, then one may recognize the incompleteness that is present. So individuals in one way seem like guinea pigs. People seem like test subjects for companies that are attempting to probably do something good or attempting to benefit off of something that is of good in the world, especially when well put together, operating by the protocols that already exist and that are in development. When the app is available to masses, especially in educational environments, one may need to regard what else is possible. Individuals need to work on communication skills. That is an area of which I think brings a completely wonderful human dimension into the picture. How are individuals seeking to engage with the social reality around them, immediately around them, aside from a medium, a stepping point between them and reality present? One may discuss all the situations going on in one's life through a medium, through a mental health app. Though how is that going to help the individual address what is happening presently? I think the other portion of communication is recognizing that when individuals are in situations that require attention, the immediate attention to reality might bring one to engage with local supports that might not be so evident through an app. The other side is how comfortable might an individual feel with a real person after engaging so much through an app? How is the person to respond to an administrator that might come to one's attention to say, well, this seems to be going on, what's the situation? How is the communication developing with youth? How is the communication developing with adults? How is the communication developing? When observing these dimensions of addressing reality, addressing what is happening with oneself personally, and with really trying to bring sensibility to proactivity with direction of growth, with direction of recognizing that life is more than all that of which where one is, and that individuals do have control of life personally to a large degree. So how might individuals be more cognizant, be more present without the dynamics of life that may be seemingly crushing them? Seemingly because when these individuals engage in life in suitable routes, these individuals may thrive. And what is seemingly crushing is not even as light as air. It no longer even seems to exist. All right, it's time for some origami. I have here a squarish sheet of origami paper. I fold it point to point. Next, I'm gonna fold it in 3 portions and leave 1 portion open from this. Recent fold here. From here, I'm gonna just fold them and I'm gonna fold the points in just enough. Then I'm gonna fold it up to meet this new line. Hereafter, I'm gonna open it and I'm just gonna follow through with this fold. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna have to press it in. So I'm gonna press it in and I'm gonna have the fold in here. What's gonna happen is I get this fold. It's meeting. I'm folding these here. Here we go. And one folds a little bit over. All right. Fold it in here. Bring them to the middle. Okay, this right here. And then I'm gonna press it down. This is actually one of those folders. I don't want it to be as close as possible. See, there's an unevenness there. So I'm just gonna fold it shut. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna actually look at the origami instructions here, which you can find in the summary. And these can really help guide you along as well. Okay. So yep, I fold that down and I fold this in. Apparently I have to fold it in a little bit more. So fold it in a little bit more. But it looks like my fold is very strong in these two sides. Oh, no idea why. Oh, there you go. Cool. So from here, next is gonna happen is we're just gonna fold up just about a little bit. Fold up. And just looking at it, actually, it should be a little bit more down. So we're gonna just fold up from here. Fold up again. My fold is really, really high up in comparison to this. So I'm just gonna fold this one in a little bit more. I'm gonna fold that square neck down a little bit here. That works. There we go. So make sure you bring in the initial fold. They have to kind of touch in at the neck here. If not, the fold will probably look a little bit big and out of whack. So unique if one will to one's own fold. So after doing this, we're just gonna open this up. We're gonna open this side, and then we're gonna fold in here. So we're gonna have this nice little fold in here. And I'm just gonna bring it back down. And do the same to the other side. I'm gonna fold the inside in. And this inside portion is just a nice little diagonal, that's all. Then just fold it back out. And you have this nice fold. And what happens next is we just fold it in half. What's interesting is we have to fold it in half. Perhaps there's some area of which I need to fix because I see. So with that, all of these folds actually have to happen on the other side. Because if they all happen here on this side when I open, no, looks good. Let's keep going, let's find out. Let's see what I make. So when I'm looking at it, and the reason why I say that is because with my fold here, you want to have this part out. So you'll have the sheet head forming. Then afterward, you can fold everything in here. Just a little fold in here. Fold it in. So that you make a fold in here. Yeah. So if not, then you have this interesting fold. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna improvise on the sheet. And I'm just going to bring in this tail here. That's all. Make a few adjustments on the sheep's ears. Make the folds in. Fold in here. Then you bring this fold in here. Same over here. Bring this fold in here. Now this basically is going to be a few steps in. What I'm doing is folding in underneath. So I'm going to simplify this sheep here. So after you make that sheep, you can just fold under the neck. You see, you're going to fold under the neck. So you can see it like clumping in there. See that? It's like clumping in. And you can just bring the neck in so you have a bend. Okay. Have a bend here. And from your bend, you can press in. From your back portion, you see that popping in? You just flip the tail in. And you can bounce in here. You can just fold in the bottom here of the insides. And inside here at the top, you can bend in this portion. Crinkle it. And here we have the improv sheet. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring in the ears here. You see this portion? Bring in the improv sheet here. It really kind of looks like an oxen. And here we have it, folks. Improv sheet. Sheep oxen, maybe. Alright. I champion reading physical books. When an individual reads a physical book, there are a lot of health benefits. One of which is the brain physically changes when one is reading a physical book. And I really like how the text engages with movement. Considering how movement is integral to many traditions, I find that the engagement of physical activity as a way to promote health, we're looking in the gynecological field when approaching how health may be receiving attention through physical dimensions. So that one may find a way to be proactive to engage with, for example, blood flow and dynamics of one's blood flow, and how one may just be in community and be socially active with the dimensions of physical activity, contributing well to one's health. So I really like the text. I actually buy the text thinking of the text in a more of a comical, communal sense, to bring the dimensions of the text into a relationship as a form of practice, a fun way to engage with healthful, and addressing how this type of alternative medicine might prove extremely valuable. And I don't want to say that the text is bringing us to any practice that is a guarantee to resolve any medical situation, though what the text is involving is bringing individuals to engage with healthful behaviors that may contribute well to one's health. So I think the text is way more than comical. I actually think the text is a practical, helpful progression, and I think it's just really cool to be addressing how movement is culture by culture, how there are systems of movement that are so present and in development. And I'm really glad about being aware of this type of dynamic, and when I come across these different types of helpful practices, I really like to embrace them. Thanks for joining. I don't know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.